Councilmember Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Elward.
Here.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sambor.
Here.
Mayor Giudice.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, can we all please stand while I do the land acknowledgement, and then we'll do the salute to the flag? Okay, the City of Rohnert Park acknowledges that indigenous peoples are the traditional stewards of the land. Let it be acknowledged that the City of Rohnert Park is located within the traditional homelands of the Federated Indians of Great and Rancheria, comprised of Coast Miwok and Southern Pomo people. And now it is my extreme pleasure to welcome all of the students from Evergreen Elementary School, second and third grade class of Megan Harold to come and join us and lead us in the pledge. Please, please come on up front and lead these good people in the pledge. Yay. Wow, we got a whole troop. By the way, this is the highlight of the meeting tonight, so. Okay, who's going to lead this?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful. Now you stay right there. We've got some presents for you. Council members, will you help me, please? Thank you. Emily, you have the, okay, perfect. Come on up in front of us, everybody. Get the council members in back. Come on up. Come on up. There we go. All right. Cheese.
All right.
You know that? All right. Thank you.
Good to see you.
You want to give me your
Mr. McKenzie?
Okay. We'll let them shuffle out.
I feel short.
I think they're yours. Okay, I don't know. I'll just put this down here for right now. Okay. Thank you for your patience there, and we'll go ahead and start with some wonderful proclamations. First one is going to be proclaiming May 2025 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Month in the City of Rohnert Park. City Council of the City of Rohnert Park proclaims May 25th as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the City of Rohnert Park. Whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander AA and NHPI Heritage Month honors and celebrates the remarkable contributions of these communities to the history, culture, and society of both the city of Rohnert Park and the United States. And whereas the month of May was chosen to commemorate two significant milestones, the arrival of the first Japanese immigrants to the United States in May of 1843 and the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in May 1869, a monumental achievement made possible in large part by the labor and resilience of Chinese immigrants. Whereas from the founding of Rohnert Park to present day, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders have played a vital role in shaping the city's story and helping to build the community we know and cherish. Whereas we recognize and celebrate the invaluable contributions of generations of AA and NHPI individuals, diverse in background and experience, who have served as educators, service members, entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, community leaders, and advocates, enriching every aspect of our civic life. Whereas Rohnert Park continues to be enriched by the cultural diversity, traditions, and generosity of its AA and NHPI communities, we proudly honor their legacy through community programs and celebrations held throughout the year. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that I, Gerard Giudice, as mayor, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Rohnert Park, and encourage all residents to join in recognizing and honoring the countless contributions of AA and NHPI communities locally, nationally, and around the world. Thank you. And I would like to present this to three individuals, our very own, and gentleman who started me on this, Leo Takata, Fanny Lam, who's also a planning commissioner here in Rohnert Park, and Dr. Aisha Rabadi Raul, assistant professor at SSU. So please welcome and have you say a few words, and then we're going to give the proclamations away and take some photographs. Please, do you want to start, Leo? Fanny, please. Doctor, please. And welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor. I am really grateful that this city recognizes AA, NH, and PI month for our continued contribution to this community. I'm thankful for the city to do this. I'm thankful that the council recognizes us as well. Very grateful for this month, and salamat po.
Thank you. Thank you. Please.
Hi, I'm Fanny Lam, Executive Director of APA Family Support Services, as well as Vice Chair of the Rohnert Park Planning Commission. I'm extremely grateful for Rohnert Park because Rohnert Park changed my life. 7 years ago, I moved from San Francisco to here. I suffered from a lot of trauma because of close relatives passing away, and at that time, Rohnert Park opened up the first leadership class to encourage the diverse population to serve the city. And I was selected to be one of the participants to this group for 1 year. And I have learned so much. And since then, I have been volunteering to Rohnert Park and also other nonprofit organizations that leads me to serving more and more API families in San Francisco today and the Wide Bay area. So I really appreciate the visions of Rohnert Park, and I appreciate all the work that you have done. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Doctor. Hi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Aisha Rabadi Raul, and I'm honored to be here this evening as a proud resident of Rohnert Park and its vibrant community. As an immigrant who came here from India, I'm deeply grateful for this proclamation recognizing May as Asian, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Month. In today's political climate, where division often makes headlines, this moment feels especially hopeful. It reminds us that we can choose unity, celebrating the beauty of our differences, while finding strength in what connects us. This proclamation is more than symbolic. It's a call to action, an invitation to learn about the diverse cultures, languages, and histories represented in the Anapi community. Let's take this opportunity to teach our children. and ourselves to value understanding and mutual respect, because that's how we build a more peaceful world, by truly seeing one another. Thank you to the friendly city of Rohnert Park and for acknowledging this and making this proclamation.
That was beautiful. Okay, Council, would you like to please join me up front and we'll issue the proclamations? Take a photo. Okay, we get to do this yet another time, which is wonderful. I'm going to do a mayor's proclamation proclaiming May 2025 as Bike Month and May 15th, 2025 as Bike to Work Day. Whereas the bicycle is a healthy, convenient, financially and environmentally sound form of transportation and an excellent tool for recreation and enjoyment, the City of Rohnert Park's scenic beauty, local attractions, and family neighborhoods. And whereas Sonoma County's roads and trails attract bicyclists each year, providing economic health, transportation, tourism, and scenic benefits. Whereas creating a bicycle-friendly community has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, growing the economy of the city and county, attracting tourism dollars, improving traffic safety, supporting student health and learning, and reducing pollution, congestion, and wear and tear on our streets and roads. Whereas since 2001, the Sonoma County Bike Coalition has been promoting bicycling for transportation and recreation through education, encouragement, and advocacy. Whereas thousands of local school children have received classroom instruction in bicycle and pedestrian safety and participated in skill-building bike roads facilitated by Sonoma County Bike Coalition Safe Routes to School program. Whereas the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition Smart Cycling program has taught bicycle safety skills to thousands of adults. Whereas the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition has produced numerous events and activities encouraging residents to ride a bicycle, including the Bike Advocacy Summit, bike expos, help me here. Ciclovia, thank you. Thank you. Bike film nights, community nights, giveaways of bicycles and bicycle safety equipment, repair clinics, and Bike to Work Month. Whereas Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition and the League of American Bicyclists, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and jurisdictions throughout the Bay Area will be promoting bicycling during May 2025. Whereas throughout the month of May, the residents of Rohnert Park and its visitors can experience the joys of bicycling through free educational programs, challenges, and events organized by these groups. Whereas these groups are also promoting greater public awareness of bicycle operations and safety education in an effort to reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities and improve health and safety for everyone everyone on the road. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Gerard Giudice, as mayor of Rohnert Park, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby recognize Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition and commends the institution for its contributions to community, and proclaims May 2025 as Bike Month and May 15th, 2025 as Bike to Work Day in Sonoma County, and urge all residents to participate in this special observance. Thank you. And we have two community members here, Steve Keith and Gary Gutierrez, to accept the proclamations. And would you please come forward and say a few words? And I think Eris is here too. And Eris Weaver, excuse me. Welcome, Eris.
Hi, I'm Eris Weaver. I'm the Executive Director of the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition. Thank you so much for this proclamation. 25 years ago, members of a local cycling club decided to channel their frustration, their anger, their fear, and their sadness at the number of cyclists being injured and killed on our roads into what became the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition. There were plenty of groups taking people on bike rides, but not working to make the streets safer so that more of us could choose to do so. In that time, I won't repeat all the long list of things that were in that proclamation, but would like to let folks know that some of the things that are happening on the 15th. At various times, mostly in the morning, throughout the county, there will be Energizer stations set up where people can stop on their way to work or school or wherever you're going and get snacks and swag and support. There are also some month-long challenges that you can participate in. If you go to bikesonoma.org, you can find out more about all the different things that are happening. And I can't be up here and talk about Bike Month and bike things without mentioning the ways that Rohnert Park has actually been ahead of the curve. I've been living here and riding a bike here since the 70s, and having all of the trails along the creeks has been wonderful. And of course, I can't not acknowledge Mr. McKenzie for all of his time on the council and all of his work towards making it a more bicycle-friendly city. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Please.
Yes, thank you very much. So Gary Gutierrez, a member of the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, as well as a Bike Coalition member, and long-term time resident of Rohnert Park. And I just want to say thank you for all of the support that the council has provided us. As a BPAC member, I feel like we've made a lot of gains here in Rohnert Park and look forward to the direction as we move forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Steve Keith, I'm current chair of the BPAC. With the Gary, we appreciate everyone's support and interest with the coalition, especially the support by staff, the work that staff has done through the support of the council. It's clear to me that these projects are having a positive impact in encouraging people to engage in active transportation, and not just bicycling, but certainly that too. Seeing a lot more of that on the road. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. And why don't you hang back? We're going to take a couple of photographs and hand out a proclamations, please.
We're going to just do one to the
Okay.
members.
Very good.
See?
Thank you. And just really quick before we start with public comment, you know, a couple of weeks ago, Labatt Landing got a grant from a local Rotary Club to build a bicycle repair station so that the residents there can repair their bicycles. And Eris was more than generous to offer the Bike Coalition to go over there and teach all those folks how to repair their own bicycles at Labatt Landing, and I thought that was wonderful. Okay, we have no department head briefings. We have public comment. How many cards do I have?
Up to 15. More than 10.
So well, I don't want to cut it down necessarily. What is the protocol? What is it, 45 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay, so I've got 16 cards, and I've got 30 minutes to do that in, so I'm going to ask that everyone do 2 minutes. Before we do public comment, I'm sorry, I forgot something. First, we're going to do the Rohnert Park Regional Library update by Commissioner Barbara McKenzie. I'm sorry, Barbara, please do. I apologize.
No. My mic on? Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to give you a bit of an update about our library and the library system in general. Mr. Mayor, Council, Madam City Manager, Madam City Attorney, and staff, appreciate the opportunity and the time. Let's see if there we go. A couple of years ago, maybe just a year ago, the time is going quickly, we had a contest for a new library card, and this was one of the winners. This is one of our current library cards, and this beautiful card was created and designed by Caleb T. Caleb is a resident of Rohnert Park. He's 7 years old, and he won the contest. I replaced the normal slide we have in here with Caleb's because as a Rohnert Park resident, I'm sure you wanted to see and appreciate this young lad's beautiful artwork. These are all the reasons based on surveys and interviews and so forth that everyone loves the library. When I talk about the library, I'm talking about our system-wide Sonoma County library system. Our survey showed that people love, of course, the fact that we have qualified librarians and lots of them. We have teen librarians, we have children's librarians, we have adult librarians. We have a lot of reading programs for kids. I'm sure a lot of people here take advantage of those. We have homework help, career support, safe places for kids after school, and clean, safe places just for all of us to be and enjoy. It is a hometown library. Unlike some of the libraries throughout the country, some libraries are city libraries. They're part of the city government. Some of them are county libraries, part of the county government. We are a completely free, independent agency. And this allows us a lot of freedom in terms of our collection policy and our funding. So I just want to talk about some of the highlights. We, of course, have no fines for overdue materials. I think this is true of many, many libraries now, but it's still a shock to some people that we don't charge if you're overdue, and we don't. We're open 7 days a week now, and this is one of the great benefits of having our little tiny library tax. We do have wonderful online access 24/7. And again, we are a completely independent public agency. I'm going to talk about the funding in just a second. So again, slightly uniquely, we are an organization called a Joint Powers Agreement. So the powers themselves are the cities of Sonoma County plus the county of Sonoma. It results in a governing board that's made up of 11 people. There are 11 library commissioners. I'm the one. I had the honor of being appointed by you to represent Rohnert Park in this group of governors. We do also have 9 library advisory boards. These are groups of volunteers appointed by, our names brought forth by the different commissioners and then approved by the commission itself. And we meet and communicate basically about what's going on with the cities, what's going on, in the community, any advice that some of the people in the advisory board like to pass forward to the library governing body. Right now, we have an opening for an adult on our advisory board, and we also have an opening for a teen on our library advisory board. And it's a wonderful place to just get to know a lot about library and participate. And I looked around the room, I see a lot of people who've been, or some people who've been on the Library Advisory Board. So anyway, we welcome applications for that. See me afterwards or contact our branch manager if you're interested. Throughout the county, we have 10 Friends of the Library groups. The Friends of the Library are completely independent, separate, nonprofit groups of all volunteers, and their job is to basically take donated books, sell donated books through book sales, or in our case, a bookstore, and all that money goes back into the library. We have a One Measure Y Oversight Committee, and Measure Y was, again, the tax measure that was passed, I believe it was 8 years ago. It's just an eighth of a cent sales tax, but it has completely transformed our libraries and allowed them to be open now 7 days a week with all the extra programming and benefits that we have. It's that tax that makes that possible. Part of the tax measure said, you're going to have an oversight board. We're going to have some citizens looking over your shoulder, making sure you're spending this money the way we voted for. So that group is made up, again, of citizens appointed, and there is a liaison from the commission, and the new one is me. So I'm going to be starting tomorrow, actually, or Thursday, the new liaison to that committee. So we have local library advisory and support groups. We have just a lot going on to support our library. These are the locations throughout the county. We have this really great map, a version of this slide here that you can pick up and take your kids all right through the county, and as you visit the different libraries, you can get a sticker and put on the map and fill it out. It's a fun activity for kids. It shows you, though, how complex the system is and how much presence we have throughout the county. Rohnert Park Cotati Regional Library. This is actually the Rohnert Park Library, built in Rohnert Park by Rohnert Park 22 years ago. It opened in 2003. The library calls it the Rohnert Park Cotati Regional Library because, of course, it serves our entire region. It's one of the larger libraries. It is open 7 days a week like the rest of the libraries in the system. I'm not sure these numbers are accurate right this second because we have become the busiest library. Currently, right now, Petaluma is closed for a major multi-million-dollar renovation. Healdsburg's library is closed, same thing, major multi-million-dollar renovation. It's going to be beautiful, transformed libraries. And so while they're closed and they're operating out of these little mini spaces, our library's gotten incredibly busy. And so we are the busiest. I think even our collections, our checkouts are the highest number, I'm pretty sure. I erred at the very beginning. I meant to introduce our branch manager, Jennifer Ryder, who is here tonight. Jennifer, would you stand up? Yep. There she is. And she's available for questions if you have specific questions about things like that she knows much more about as the manager of our program. There's a mention down here of Stay and Play. This is one of Jennifer's grant programs. She got a grant for it. We have study pods for quiet space if you need to study or be tutored or so forth. We right now do not have a seed library. We need to take that off, and we do have upgraded audiovisual in the Flores room. So I added the slide because I think history and legacy is very important. And Marguerite Hahn, who many of you know and who I think I mentioned last time I was down here, I need to have a slide of Marguerite Hahn, so we know we have her. She was the first librarian in Cotati. She was first appointed in 1945 in Cotati, and that was right at the end of the war. And during the war, she served in the Red Cross, and she also served as a plane spotter, looking for planes, which fortunately didn't happen over the city of Cotati during the war. At the end of the war, she was given this appointment, and she had a home near the plaza with a small little bungalow kind of building, I guess, on the front of it, and she volunteered that to be the library. So it was her building, and she volunteered it, and that was the first library in Cotati. Then, of course, as Rohnert Park was established and grew, that library was insufficient. Marguerite Hahn had a hand in combining the libraries throughout the county, and as Rohnert Park grew, it established another library, which where's now the Safeway Park, Safeway parking, not parking lot, but the Safeway Center, the building there on Hunter Drive was the library for several years. Along comes Lynn Condi here in the pink in the middle, and I misspelled her name because it does have an E on the end. And anyone who knows Lynn, she's a force of nature, and she said, we need a new library. She was down in front of the city council time after time, stirring everybody up and going, we've got to get another library. So she became the citizen champion, and the champion on the Rohnert Park City Council was actually Armando Flores. So they were successful, and all the council, of course, was supportive, the community was supportive, and the city was able to fund the library with $8 million of redevelopment funds. So it's a beautiful flagship. It's still beautiful. It's still great. I still think it's the best library we have in our system. When you pull in there, you'll pull in on Lynn Condi Drive. And then, of course, if you go to any events, our events are held in the Armando Flores room. So, again, to honor the legacy of just a couple of very important people to library history. We have some beautiful features inside. On the far left here is a book sale that's going on by the Friends of the Library. Those are held twice a year. The middle slide shows this beautiful mural on the ceiling. The artist was Bob Eisenberg. And it's still as beautiful and stunning as when the library opened. Over here on the far right, we have the picture of two of the volunteers, friends, who are operating the bookstore on that particular day. As you probably all know, it is the only bookstore in Rohnert Park, and it is a very fine one. So come on down and buy some books. We've added a lot of technology. This is just a couple of pictures of a couple of new things. Some of you are, of course, in that picture over there with the ribbon cutting. Behind all the folks in the front is a picture. There's a picture of our Biblio box. That's something new. When you put a book on hold, you can request that it be picked up right there in front of the library in the Biblio box. 24/7, you can pick up your books whenever you'd like. The laptop borrowing station is here. You can't take those home, but you can borrow a laptop while you're in the library. We have tons of electronic resources, and I won't go app by app, but there's just so much you can do at home on our digital branch by borrowing, off the apps. This shows a little bit of the circulation, and you can see that the dark blue are physical items, and the lighter blue are digital items. That means electronic resources, and you can see how the use has gone up and up. The difficulty with electronic resources is they are incredibly expensive. If you buy a book, you pay once. If you use the libraries are charged much more by the publishers for electronic resources, and you can only use them a certain amount of time, and then you have to buy them again. So that's been an expensive but very important and very much increasingly appreciated use of materials. Statistically, we have 1.4 million visits to the branches. That's going to go up once these new renovations are revealed. We have lots of programming now. We are open 750 hours collectively throughout the system. I want to emphasize this local funding. Again, that sales tax measure has passed, and in the last election was extended through Measure W. If there's no end date to it now, which is wonderful, we have stable funding, and we get about 35 to 40% of our funding from that sales tax, and a little tiny piece of the property tax, which is 60 to 65%. Those two chunks of money allow us to pay for our library and also to give us local control of our library. We don't have to depend on state grants, so we don't have to depend on money from anyone. This allows us to have a great collection policy when we encourage, as it says, free people to read freely. So we're in charge of our collections, our programming, and our resources. Lastly, you had an item on your consent calendar not too long ago about the peanut statues. These are part of the Schultz collection from several years ago, being renovated right now, and this is not a real picture. This is virtually what's going to happen, but this is going to be a very cute addition to our library. It's upcoming. I don't have a date yet, but we will have a ribbon cutting, which of course a party for everyone. Please come and join us. Wanted to make the point that partnerships are really important. The city of Rohnert Park, of course, involved in this project. The lab has, heard about it and got an update. The Friends are very important because they paid for it. And Charles M. Schultz as the original creators of these statues. I wanted to mention that as your commissioner, I'm in my 11th year in this position. I've been so appreciative of your trust. I want to say that my appointment runs out next summer, and I want people to understand what is involved in this. Besides going to a monthly meeting of the commission, I'm also the chair of the finance committee. We have, right now we're planning for our unassigned fund balances, looking at PERS and our OPEB and the responsibility for these funds. I'm also on the Joint Powers Review Committee. We're looking right now at whether revisions to the agreement between all the jurisdictions should be made or not. I'm also, again, as I mentioned, I'm the liaison to the Measure Y Committee. I do attend all the Friends of the Library Board meetings and make a report, keep them involved. I attend all the Library Advisory Board meetings and communicate with everybody else. So there's a lot to it, and it's a big part of my life. And I've been enriched by being able to serve the library and the city council and the city in this way. So thank you very much. If you have any questions for myself or for Jennifer, we're here.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much. Before I turn to my colleagues, Public Safety has given me a request here. Can we ask the owner of a blue BMW to report to the parking lot, please? And which parking lot would that be, Public Safety? The one in the back, please? Oh, we got it. You got it? Thank you very much. So I'll turn to my colleagues, and please.
Thank you, Mayor.
Comments?
Barbara, thank you so much for the work you do. I know this is tireless. I know that there's a lot of preparation for all the meetings that you attend, represent Rohnert Park so well. This council thought so much of your reappointment that I'll just tell a little tale on Jackie. When she was the mayor, she dialed in from another country to make sure that you got her vote to be reappointed. So I really appreciate your time. And I'll just say through you to your husband, for Friends of the Library, those beautiful little statues that we're going to have out there. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the both of you and the work that you're doing to make the Rohnert Park Library the finest library in our system.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Barbara. Councilmember Adam just said, I didn't doubt in my mind to really be in that phone call and really suggest reappointing you. If there's nothing to fix, why not keep it, right? And so you've been doing a good job, and we see the result. And thank you for the time and energy that you put into our library, especially our children. 10 years ago, I was that mom bringing my children in that library, spending countless of hours. I really appreciate it because I know that we have other moms with little ones that spend countless time in that library, and also for our young adults. So thank you for the work. I really appreciate it, and also thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Please.
I just think it's an invaluable resource, like it says there. Free people read freely, which is so important. I know my nieces and nephews thoroughly enjoy the library, specifically at this branch. We have some family members throughout the county that come to the Rohnert Park branch because of all its offerings and programming for various age levels. I think that's the key kind of takeaway here, is how much you really make sure that there's something for everybody. So I thank you for your advocacy and for the network in general for how much they are dedicating to the residents of Sonoma County. So thank you.
Thank you.
Please.
Yes, thank you, Library Commissioner. We are in a very good place as a city because we have this access to such great information. I appreciate you including a little bit of the history and of the people who put their heart and souls into it to make it what it is today. And I know that for my family, it's one of the treats that we can agree on. That was us on Sunday negotiating, what are we going to do today? And it was like, okay, everyone could agree on the library, and we all got something wonderful out of it. So I just want to thank you for your continued commitment. I know it's a lot, and we really value you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and yes, Barbara, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. I've been a longtime supporter of the library on an annual basis, and I will continue to do so. Rohnert Park is truly blessed to have the best, as you say, library in Sonoma County, and we thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it very much. Jennifer, do you want to say anything?
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, come down and meet Jennifer. You know, she's a wonderful branch manager and happy to help anyone
Perfect.
who needs help. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Jennifer. So I'd like to turn to the city attorney and get clarity, please, as to what is the true answer as to how many minutes of public comment that we have.
Yes, per our protocols, there are public comments for this first public comment period. You'll recall we have two public comment periods, one now and one at the end of the meeting.
Yes.
So for the first public comment period, we're limited to 30 minutes.
Okay.
So,
All right. So what we will do is we will do this in groups of 5. We have 18 cards. We will allow everyone 2 minutes, and hopefully someone will be a little bit brief than somebody else. And I'd like to call up Annette and Bess and Mary Franco and Anita Felton and Anthony Krupa. If you could all just line up, and then we'll take it one after another, and maybe we can save some time that way as well. So we'll start off with Annette. If you could just tell us your name and where you're from, please.
My name's Annette Huckel, and I live at 1234 Hartwood Drive. And I wanted to read an email from the 3rd Water District that was sent to me on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 this year. Danny and Annette, as fate would have it, Sonoma Water was in Rohnert Park visiting with city staff about flooding issues just yesterday. He mentioned the Hartwood drainage issues. I attached Sonoma Water's response to my inquiry. Additionally, Permit Sonoma has confirmed that the jurisdictional authority is indeed Rohnert Park. This means that any solution to this issue will need to be addressed by the city. I'll note here that due to the stormwater infrastructure belonging to Rohnert Park, county personnel have not comprehensively assessed the system. They speculate that the storm drain system in the area can be overwhelmed during sustained rain events that cause the adjacent field to flood. Our staff recommends that you continue to engage with city staff on this issue, as well as Councilmember Elward, who represents Hartwood. I will send the city manager a note about this myself. I'm sorry that we cannot address this issue. Feel free to keep me in the loop. And that's from Sean Hamlin from the Office of Supervisor Chris Kersey, 3rd District, Sonoma County Board of Supervisors. After attending the budget meeting, we heard the city has no money to fix this problem. It has money allotted for other projects, but not for the safety of its people during a flood. Vanessa's Basin presentation and the mayor's friendly flyway are long-term solutions that the city has no money for right now. It was suggested at the April 22nd meeting of applying for state funds since friendly flyway meets the requirements of environmental and water improvement.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you sticking to the 2 minutes. Okay, next up is Bess. Please welcome Bess. Can you tell us your name and where you're from?
Yes, I'm Bess McKay, and I am a 33-year resident of Rohnert Park, and I live on Eleanor Avenue. Last week, I got to attend my first Planning Commission meeting, and I'm sorry to say that this is my first City Council meeting, and I'm very interested so far in how things are going and what I'm observing and watching. Most, if not all of you, received an email from myself and some of my neighbors regarding the appeal on the Walmart expansion that is proposed. So I'm just really here to put a face with a name and let you know that I did officially file the appeal today and that I look forward to coming back and talking to you along with my neighbors and others about the expansion.
Thank you, Bess. Thank you very much. And Mary Franco, please, next. I mean Tracy Franco, I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries.
It almost looks like an M.
Okay, yeah, I write sloppy. Okay, my name's Tracy Franco. I live at 1214 Hermitage Way. I've spoken here regarding the flooding on Hartwood Drive before. A few residents and I walked the property, the edge of the property with Vanessa back in January, and we had questions regarding our options to try and slow the water. Vanessa had told us that she needs to wait to answer our questions until she hears back from the special consultant / hydrologist. In an email yesterday from Vanessa, she replied that the staff did engage a hydrologist and received a cost proposal to address flooding citywide. That proposal was brought to the budget workshop, but the city does not have the funding for it. I speak for the group of residents of Hartwood Drive, and we feel that the citywide flooding is an issue that needs attention and cannot be dismissed. At the end of the last general meeting on April 22nd, Councilmember Rodriguez asked the staff to add an additional budget session. I can only imagine the amount of facts and figures discussed in those 2 long budget sessions. It was so refreshing to see Samantha ask for another chance to discuss and ask questions and clarify budget items that she had a chance to absorb all the information after the meetings. I'd like to know when that additional meeting is going to happen because I'd like the citywide flooding issues to be one of the things talked about. So I'm curious if there's a date set for that additional budget meeting. And that's it. Hey.
Thank you very much. Anita, please. Anthony's going to take your spot?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Anthony Krupa, and I'm the Director of Tennis with the Rohnert Park Tennis Club. I'm addressing you tonight to speak to the urgency of resurfacing the tennis courts at M Park. As of today, the courts are deteriorating rapidly. Many of the courts are stripped of their paint, and all of them are cracked. As the court degrades, the black foundation is exposed, and that foundation then mixes with dust and paint that is coming up from the court. In an effort to remedy this, before every class that I teach, I sweep the court for 15 minutes to make sure that it is playable. Despite this, more than a few times, kids have fallen, they slipped, and then the tennis class ends in tears. That's a terrible thing for me because I want my classes to be fun, exciting, and positive. This is not a cosmetic request. All of us at the tennis club and the M Park community are here because if it is delayed any longer, we move from a simple maintenance project to a full-scale, extensive, and expansion restoration project. I understand that the project had been grouped with Sunrise Park, but I want to be clear, the conditions at M Park are much more dire. These are not idle courts. They are filled daily by high schools, league players, club programs, and community members of all ages. Players drive from all across Sonoma to go to these courts because the location is incredible, the community is wonderful, and they do that despite the court's conditions. The Rohnert Park Tennis Club is committed to moving the project forward. We're ready to help, but the next step needs to come from you. Please allocate the resources necessary so that we can get this project done and move forward. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And before I call Anita up, she's the last of the 5. Can I get line up with Lisa Scott, Paula Brown, Michael Turner, Drew Sipple, and James Freiberg, please. Thank you. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you. I'm also here to talk about the tennis courts at M Park. The surface, as he stated, continues to deteriorate, rendering it slippery and unsafe. In January of 2021 was when I first contacted Cindy Bagley on the condition of all the courts in the city. I was told at that time they planned to resurface all the city courts. To date, none of the city courts have been resurfaced. In 2023, I again communicated with her about the deterioration taking place on import courts and the slippery hazard problem with surface deterioration. I was told then that they were aware of the problem and the project was funded for the fiscal year ending in June. In April of 2024, I again contacted her about the courts, that they were getting worse, and I was told the courts would be resurfaced between July of 2024 and March of 2025. In August of 2024, I was told that the city bid for the M Park resurfacing along with a big project for S courts. What happened was they came in over budget. The plan I understood to be was to modify the S project and go out for bid again in 2025. The bids were done this March. I was recently told the project was not going forward. In 2024, I specifically asked, can we go ahead with the M Park resurfacing and separate that from the reconstruction of S Park, because the M Park surface was becoming more hazardous and was an extreme need. Now, we're at another year. I am now pleading with the council to only consider M Park resurfacing, to go out for bid immediately and fund that resurfacing. The surface cannot withstand another winter. To not have any playable tennis courts in the entire city would be impactful on the physical and mental health of all the tennis players throughout our city. Our city must have allocated maintenance funds since these parks were built. Where has that money gone? Please review your maintenance budgets and allocate money to M Park tennis courts resurfacing. It must, and I say must, return to a safe, playable condition for all the youth and seniors in our community.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank
you very much.
And I invite you, I would
Thank
be
you.
happy.
Thank you.
I have pictures that I'd like to pass through the board so that you can see the current condition as of Sunday.
Lisa Scott, please.
Hello, my name is Lisa Scott, and I'm with Unsheltered Friends Outreach, and I'm here today to please ask not to let go of the master lease program. We could decrease it, hopefully funding over the time instead of so dramatically. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Paula Brown, please.
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, for your attention to my comments today. One thing I love about Rohnert Park was that wonderful proclamation that we started with, diversity and just love for people. I'm hoping that you will leave the master lease program as it is and reduce the funding gradually. I have to advocate for the people. I don't want to see even one person become collateral damage due to budget cuts. It's highly unlikely, barring a miracle, to think that we could house all of the program participants before the funds in the current budget run out. City Manager, I know you worked so hard on that budget, but I'm hoping that you can work with city staff to slowly, responsibly reduce the funding for the program. We can't abruptly discontinue this program, not until the current participants are taken care of and we've done our very best to make sure that they're okay. In Rohnert Park, our budget reflects our values. I understand that the intention for this program may not have been for it to go on in perpetuity. It's a good program. It brought so much hope to people. I'm hoping that we can continue housing people with somebody else's money. Council members, I trust that you've heard me. Please do not unanimously approve the budget as it was originally presented. And I know we have to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. And the participants are panicking. They're contemplating life on the street again. And I know that no one here wants to injure anyone. That's why we have to reduce this budget slowly and thoughtfully. Emily and Jenna are brilliant at their jobs, but we need time. We need time to find acceptable housing for this group of people. I appreciate all of you and your heart and the efforts you bring to your office.
Please.
My name is Michael Turner, and I live in Rohnert Park. I'm also a recipient of the Master Lease Program. And just can't tell you how much this would destroy people if you cut the funding, because people like me would have to go back out on the streets. And I've worked so hard to get where I'm at right now to better improve my life. And I don't really know what to say, but just please think about what you're doing. And you just can't put people back out on the streets, because I think it'd be really detrimental to them, their well-being. And I honestly don't know what I'd do, you know, because I've worked so hard. I'm also working with UFO to help the homeless people, feed them, clothe them, do whatever we can for them. As a return, thank you for you guys helping me out. And I'd like to continue to do that. But I don't know when I'd find the time to be able to do things like that, being out on the streets, you know. That's really all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Michael, thank you. Thank you very much for coming down. Is Drew not out there? Drew, are you there? Is Drew here? Okay, I'll put that to the side. What about James Freiberger? Is James here? Okay, we'll call the next five then. Can we please have Rich Hutchinson and Peter Alexander and Yasha and Aaron Henke, and also Leslie and Shane, please come up. Rich is first. Thank you.
Hey, Rich left.
Rich left?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm happy with Shane and Leslie. Can I take Rich's spot and have Leslie speak in her own?
Sure.
Same subject.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right, I'll make it pretty quick, but we are part of the Rohnert Park Tennis Club, and we're here to talk a little bit about that. I'm a graduate of Sonoma State in 1992 and have been in and around the county ever since, minus 4 years where I was in the South Bay. I've played on the tennis courts in Rohnert Park since 2004. They're in the worst shape today that they've been over the course of those 21 years. In 2017, the tennis club that I was a participant with closed down. When it closed down, we had a lot of choices what to do. One of the real draws to M Park was that it's a beautiful environment with wonderful people, with a safe, clean court environment. We don't have that anymore. So where before I was able to pull 50 people to bring them with me to the courts, now every time I play a match with someone who's not from around here, they comment on the condition that the courts are and their own safety. And I'd love to see that change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Peter Alexander, please.
Good evening. So Gavin Newsom calls a ban on the homeless camps. It's time for the interfaith community to light some garden lamps. The community, perhaps along with AA, hands-on initiating massive land reform on this beautiful day, tied into Mary Isaac-style living programs that would work this all out so everybody's got something to do and somewhere to be. So Indivisible sponsored protests designed to accomplish the same thing Occupy accomplished back in the day, which is nothing. Only the 40-day freedom strike will put us in charge of what's going on and stop all this, freeze frame all this insanity. But it seems that this group is a socialist communist based and challenging the fastest concepts. If it was bumped up to a strike, maybe we should all get involved. And I belong to AA, which is All Americans with constitutional bent. And AA is also considered an agricultural anarchist, which is also constitutionally based, and that no bar lawyer should be in public office. But I'm talking about the interfaith community and massive garden programs. Let me ask you all here, I mean, this is all doable. We're the most powerful people in the most powerful state. Free will, do we possess it? Self-determination? I am, Peter, I am commanding my California warriors that possess in their hearts the Christos light now to freeze frame the economy for 40 nights, 40 days. All time is now, and now is a time to cease funding of our hard-earned monies to the mortgage bankers and Rothschild's own PG&E. Why are we funding the very thing we're protesting against? It somehow doesn't make sense. Law enforcement would benefit from this because they eventually would be freed to serve Americans and no longer the corporations, which is what I know they wish when the Constitution is set free. Our veterans, so long poisoned, abused, and wrongfully imprisoned, like Dr. Greenberry, Surgeon Dr. McDonald, the veterans, I say, remember the Battle of Athens, and my last statement.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. Thank you, Peter. Please. Hi.
Good evening, and thank you so much. My name is Erin Hankey, and though I am actually not a Rohnert Park City resident, I come from Novato, and I play regularly at the Magnolia Park tennis courts. I counted up, I participated in 24 teams since 2019, and I've brought a lot of people from the region, not just Sonoma County, but from Marin County, from the East Bay as well, to participate on some of my USTA teams. As you've already heard, the courts are in terrible disrepair and are becoming unsafer by the day. I actually did submit some pictures as well, but kind of at the last minute. So I really think it's so important that that some funds be used to resurface the courts. Especially you heard from Anthony, who gives lessons to kids, and that they're leaving after falls in tears, and that's horrible. But I will say that those courts have always been, that whole park is such a gem in the community. With the 8, it really is, with the 8 courts that it has. And as you may have also heard, there was a study that tennis is one of the healthiest sports out there. It keeps us cognitively engaged, not just physically engaged, and it also increases a person's lifespan up to 10 years. So I think it's something that is really important, and we certainly don't want people falling on the courts and injuring themselves. So I hope that also the cost of delaying is going to, as Anthony said, to increase the cost of repairing, because it will become a complete overhaul rather than right now just a simple resurfacing. So please reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the drive up. Leslie and Shane, please. Are you coming together? Oh, okay. So, okay.
That's me. I just high-fiving my team.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'm Leslie. Hi. I didn't do a big organization in my thoughts, but I just wanted to support. I also play at Rohnert Park Tennis Club. I live at 917 Elm Drive in Petaluma, but I am a member of the tennis club, and I play regularly in the mornings, and I play on courts 6, 7, and 8, which we were supposed to talk about tonight. Those are the courts that are affected those are the worst, that have what our pro Anthony was talking about, that he was talking about the elements that are affecting the courts. Those are the way they are, they're sandy. With what he talks about was he has to sweep them before the kids come on. There's literal sand. It's almost like you're playing beach tennis. And the kids falling, it's bad. And that those kids are crying and they're falling. They don't have as far to fall as those of us over 50. When we fall, it hurts. And we have ladies that we play with who have broken arms, broken wrists. They've been out, they've been falling. I mean, there have been some bummer injuries that have already happened on the courts. I mean, when I go out there, I'm not running as fast because I'm mentally thinking about, I might slip here. There's some sand in that spot. We didn't sweep this part today. Somebody didn't bring their blower today because we are going to fall and get hurt. So it is horrible for the kids. But those of us who are over 40, over 50, we're thinking this could really not just end our tennis career, but really, really hurt us and could be very, very dangerous for any of us. But those of us getting older, we want to keep playing for a long time and we want safer courts. So please, let's get this done. We would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. John Hill, please. Is John here? Hi, John.
Morning or afternoon, Council.
No, did they stick together? Yeah. It's not in this pile. I don't have this one. So go ahead, please, sir, and then I'll look at the cards and see if one stuck together. Please, welcome.
Well, so my name is Jonathan Hill, and I live at 6050 Labath Avenue at the Labath Landing site. And I was told about the budget deficit that the city is in at the moment, and it's pretty disheartening for all the people I know that have been placed for housing, whether it's the shared housing or for the permanent housing program that you guys have helped support, which is part of the grant for the Hope Key money that you guys received to help us. What I find really hurtful is the fact that you guys have already sent out letters to people that are in the shared housing program and the master lease program telling them the funding is already cut. A lot of us have mental health issues. So for people to be told that their money is being cut and that they're already going to be homeless before you guys even voted on it really has taken a toll on a lot of people. Like the city has done a lot to get the streets cleared and everything else. And I don't know about everybody else, but if you haven't noticed, a lot of the homeless are not in town anymore. You guys have helped clear everything up. So if you guys cut the funding, you think that everybody's going to come back here and everybody's really not going to care anymore. You guys have helped everybody, but then as soon as you take it away, nobody trusts anybody. We already have trust issues. And if you take that away from us, then, they're just going to come back with a vengeance. They're not going to care about leaving trash everywhere. They're just going to make it worse. So you guys taking stuff like that away from us, not only is it like a slap in the face, because we put our trust in you guys. I know I'm just rambling on about different stuff, but this is like really messed up for me. We have a lot of friends that are homeless, people that came here. Like I said years ago when we started all this, like I grew up here. I want to recover here. I've lived in Cotati and Rohnert Park pretty much my whole life except for 2 years in Ukiah. I just don't understand how you guys could send out letters to people saying that the program's already terminated. I got friends that were clean that aren't clean anymore because they're freaking out because they don't know what they're going to do. That was their choice, but, I don't know what to do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I did find a card for Yasha. Sorry, it was stuck together with something else. So please, could you come on up front? Sorry about that.
My name is Yasha. I'm Aaron Henke's husband, and yes, I don't live in Rohnert Park, but I really enjoy coming here. I'll just give you a little bit of a different perspective. I'm a team captain. I captain some of the mixed teams. These are the teams that both men and women play on. And as an example of how much the park means to us, we play against teams from all over Sonoma County, but they're all club teams. They're teams that are made up of people who can afford to play at clubs and pay membership fees that are obviously much more than what we pay at Rohnert Park. And I think that lends to our park being unique in the sense that these are people who couldn't necessarily afford to play at those parks, don't necessarily want to be part of that scene. They enjoy coming to a public park, enjoy the fact that we have 8 courts that up until recently were in pretty good condition. They're well lighted. People really enjoy playing at these parks. And I realized after listening to everybody else talk about all the other issues your city has, that this is not high on the priority list. And I can understand that. These are tough times. But I think as an example, sometimes public parks are what make a city. I mean, think about Central Park in New York. Think about the Presidio, things like that in San Francisco. So I would hope that the city council would at least consider that this is, even though not the top priority and definitely probably not even like the middle priority for the city, that it would be considered, because I think people truly enjoy coming to play tennis at this park, not just what Anthony was talking about, lessons and leagues and things like that, but I go there probably 2 or 3 times a week, and there's always somebody there, no matter what time of the day, what time of the night. And I hope that this council will consider that and realize that, again, much like the library that the representative was talking about today, the public parks are an important part of the city's image, and they're important to people. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope I'm going to get this right. Thacia? Did I pronounce your name right? I hope so.
My name's Thacia.
Thacia, sorry about that.
I'm here for the representation of the homeless and LGBT people who have been affected by the work and services that programs like Catholic Charities and Labatt Landing and Unsheltered Friends Outreach provide and continue to provide. And I'm also here to let you guys know that cutting these programs and contracts would deeply affect the community, deeply. Thanks to Gavin Newsom's executive orders, it would be absolutely difficult and unimaginable for some of our, I don't want to say colleagues, but some of our people to have to face this. It's already difficult enough as it is. And I just want to, I've been here before and I've asked this council to recognize the fact that Labatt Landing has no mental health services. And I have to stand here and I have to speak for my friend who, I lost a friend, someone I loved very much, to something I think was possibly suicide. And there was nothing that I could do for him. I loved him so much. I tried my best to support him, and I always tried to speak for not just him, but for the village itself. And I, once again, need to recognize, I hope that you guys understand that there are no mental health services, and there's very little case management there, and this would only make that problem much bigger. I have to make it my mission to speak for my friend. His name is Thomas Bojeri. He was the son of a Rohnert Park police officer, and I just don't want his name to be forgotten, and I'm just here to speak for him and my other people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and sorry for your loss. Thank you. Bob Hanson, please. Bob. And then finally, Jennifer Rhodes, if you'd like to also get in the queue.
Good evening, everybody. I just moved into Rohnert Park. Hopefully this will be a pleasant experience. My name's Robert Hanson, vet, retired carpenter, grandfather, terminated California precinct inspector. It is my hope that we will return California to the golden state I grew up in. I was raised by a generation that instilled pride in country, pride in citizenship, a generation that celebrated the birth of children. This is not that state. My concerns, a massive manipulation of the vote count in the state of California. My concerns, the attack on the health and safety and minds of our children by the Newsom administration. I just moved up to the family ranch, Wild Spirit, where my niece, Hillary Hanson, brings in horses from the 5,000 horses gathered in California and Nevada, destined to be dog food. She brings in a couple horses a month, trains them, gives them to people with the means to maintain a horse because they are expensive. It is my hope, living in Rohnert Park, that the First Amendment will be respected. I come from Petaluma, where I spent the last 5-6 months having my public comment both interrupted and terminated. In any event, I offer my 77 years of experience to the people of Rohnert Park. If there's anything I can do to better this community, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, our last speaker is Jennifer. Welcome.
Save the best for last. No.
Sure.
Hello, thanks for hearing me out today. I was wondering if my neighbors here in the first 3 rows could stand for just a moment. I'm illustrating a point. If you could stand for just a moment. In the first 3 rows. The first 3 rows, even though folks don't care to stand, and that's okay, represent 17 people who will lose their housing if the $800,000 budget cut goes forward. Thank you, you can have a seat. This is a lot of people. Myself, I found out a couple months ago in the maybe second or third round of DOGE cuts, my housing was cut. I was homeless for 2.5 years. In October, I was housed, and this October, I will no longer be housed. I think it's important to look at the humanity of the situation. 17 people. So it's, you know, too late for me, but I can help as much as I possibly can. To me, it doesn't make sense that in our budget, we are not prioritizing humanity. What are we doing? What is that? And I know that we have here kind, thinking, dedicated stewards to our town, and that you will look after all of us, including the 17 folks that will be out on the street. In my last 20 seconds, I think it's also important to remember the climate they'll be leaving their homes in. The federal budget is about to be voted on, and Social Security, SNAP benefits, and Medicaid will already hurt us. Homelessness will hurt us even more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who took the time to come down tonight and comment. And I apologize that we had to go from 3 minutes to 2 minutes due to time constraints. But thank you all for coming. We'll go ahead and move on to the consent calendar. Do any of my council members need to comment, pull, or recuse themselves from any item?
I'd like to move the consent calendar forward, please.
Okay, does that have a second? Thank you very much. This is first and a second. Can we have a vote of affirmation? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the measure carries with no opposition. Move on to the regular items. Item 8A, introduced by title only and waive the first reading for ordinance number 987, an ordinance City Council of Rohnert Park adopting the State Fire Marshal's Fire Hazard Severity Zone Map for the City of Rohnert Park. And we welcome Deputy Chief Aaron Johnson, please.
Good evening. So before you, I think I'm driving. Yes. So before you, I'm going to present our Fire Hazard Severity Zone map. And it's actually kind of a good position that the City of Rohnert Park is in because, as you'll see, our designations are moderate and they don't extend beyond that, which some of our local partners do. So to give you some background, the government code says that the state fire marshal, which is CAL FIRE, shall identify areas in our community as either moderate, high, or very high fire danger. And the way they do that is they look at the fuel load, they look at slope or topography, they look at the fire weather, and then they look at our prevailing wind. And so the state did their assessment, they published a map, and what they showed us, or what they explained on the map, is that in Rohnert Park, there's several areas that have been designated as moderate. And so with that designation, the government code then outlines what we need to do as a jurisdiction. And based on a moderate designation, all we need to do is accept the map. We don't have to redesignate anything in the community. So if we wanted to, what the government code says is we would have to have substantial evidence, which we don't, which that's a good thing for all of our residents. And so I have before you what that map will look like. So here's a copy of the map. All of the yellow on the map designates moderate. And as you can see, we have a little bit there in G section, a little bit up in the F section area, down an L section, and then a little bit creeping off of Petaluma Hill Road, and then what we know now of W section. And so looking at that, we looked at any conflicts. There are no conflicts with the map. Our suggestion is that we adopt it as is. Actually, it's not even adopt it. We just accept it. We've already published it on the website. And if our community members want to know information, we have not only our local map on the website, but we also have the state map, so they can look at all the resources. So with that, this is our recommendation, and I'll open it up if you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chief. But before we do that, this is a public hearing. So would anyone from the public like to comment on this item? Okay.
Barbara
Recognize.
McKenzie, G section, just showed up in the map when the yellow, which is a little shocking. Does this have any tie-in to insurance rates?
I don't know. You would have to talk to your insurance company about that.
Is this something new, though? This a new map that suddenly shows that G section is more vulnerable?
Yes, this was something new this year. They produced the map.
Yeah, so basically, if you could just make your comments,
Sorry.
Ms. McKenzie, and then after the fact, Aaron is more than happy to sit down and chat with you some more.
Appreciate that. Thank you. It's just a little shock.
Okay. Is there any other member of the public would like to comment on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment, and I will turn to my colleagues. Please.
At the risk of sounding insensitive to the people who have a little yellow there, this is a beautiful map. I mean, there's some things we need to talk about and make sure those people are going to be okay, but I'd like to make a motion that we move this map forward or accept it, whatever we need to do here today.
Okay, does that have a second, and then we can continue the discussion?
I'll second.
Okay. Please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Chief. I don't have any question. It's just thank you for us to have actually the visual, and I see that some of my district is on the yellow part. In 2017, the fire got really close to that specific area too. So it's good to kind of have an idea of where we have a possibility of having a fire. I mean, it's moderate, but not sure how. Like the question I'm asking, it's about my constituents. So we know that it's moderate, but knowing with climate change, that can turn into a red zone. So do you have any advice to my constituent that would look at this map and be concerned?
Yeah, I think if you look at the map and you find that your house is in one of the areas, so this is, understand that this is a scientific model that's put out by CAL FIRE, so I'm not the scientist. But what I can tell you is knowing the topography, it's flat, and it has the riparian wetland and grassland that borders that. And so I think if you don't have combustibles in your backyard, the city has put up fire cameras now looking at that area. The fire did not, in 2017, did not come close to G section. It was up Crane Canyon.
The mountain, yeah.
Yeah, and so, and then I would say consult a wildfire and home hardening professional. We provide those resources on the website, and I would talk to a professional and ask them, I mean, this is, every community is going through the same exercise.
Well, the reason I ask because I know that not everybody follow up what we do or what it's just to have them something to think about when they watch the meeting tonight. So thank you.
Please.
No, thank you for the presentation. It's coming from the state fire marshal, so I'm glad that it's not as yellow as maybe some others might see. So thank you.
Yeah, I would challenge you to look at different jurisdictions close by and look at their maps.
Please.
I did that.
and it does put it into perspective. We're very fortunate to have a little bit of a buffer around us, and I would just encourage each homeowner to look around their space. We all have things that collect, and I think that that is the most that we can do, is take responsibility for our space. And thank you for bringing this map to us.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. I have no questions. Thank you very much. Are you going to remain for the next item, or is the chief coming up?
Mayor?
We have to,
Yeah,
we have
need
to take a
do a
vote.
roll call.
Okay.
And someone need to read the title of the ordinance.
Okay. Can I have a motion with someone reading the title, please?
Yes. Introduced by title only and waive the first reading of ordinance number 987, an ordinance of the City Council of Rohnert Park adopting the State Fire Marshal's Fire Hazard Severity Zone map for the City of Rohnert Park without modification pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act. Exempt from the CEQA guidelines sections 15378, 15061B3. So moved.
Does that have a second?
I'll second. We already did, yeah.
So we already did a motion in a second, sorry. Can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Adams?
Yes.
Councilmember Elwer?
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilmember Sanborn?
Yes.
Sorry, Vice Mayor Sanborn. Mayor Judici?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, we'll move on to item 8.2, hold a community engagement meeting to receive and discuss the Department of Public Safety's annual report regarding military equipment use for the year 2024. And so you will remain for this one?
I will be, yes.
Okay. Please.
Good evening.
Mayor, may I really quickly, I apologize. May I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure. I was just making sure. But just a trigger warning for folks that are viewing. We had this happen last time, that there is discussion about military equipment. So if you see that or maybe triggered, this might be the time to tune out.
Please resume.
Okay, thank you. So this is our report for 2024. This is based on a legal requirement pursuant to Assembly Bill 481. Our commitment is obviously to always maintain public safety, and we want the highest quality service both on the police and the fire side. Our obligation is to not let violent criminal behavior dictate the quality of life of residents here and visitors of Rohnert Park. And we want to prevent an environment where violent criminals aren't tempted or emboldened. And so we have resources, and I will go through a discussion today. But first and foremost, we always want to de-escalate our intense situations, and we feel that thanks to your approval and with this Assembly bill, we've been able to do that. We've had a couple critical incidents that we've brought to a safe resolution, and we've also been able to address violence in our community. Oops, I'm sorry. For this requirement, if we were asking for an acquisition, I would be coming to you, but we're not. That was last year. And so then this year, I'm going to give you the annual report, which is in accordance with our policy, Lexipol Policy 706. That's posted publicly on our website. And then we also have our Ordinance 964, which is also posted on the city website. So our current inventory of military equipment. So we have, these are called 40 millimeter launchers. We've described these in detail to you for the last 3 years. We have 15. Our recommendation is to stay at 15. We don't need any more of those. We have the 40 millimeter sponge, so that's the actual projectile that goes in the device. We have 400 of those. Those vary depending on training cycles, which we train with these annually. And so we don't plan to go over 400, and so that's why the number is staying at 400. So what are these used for? I'm sorry for the small text, but they're basically used to de-escalate a tactical situation and use minimum force necessary to take someone safely into custody. And so we also, in our cadre, or before I go there, so all of our staff receive training in using the launchers. And so you see the post-certified course there. So everything is post-certified by post-certified less lethal instructors and in compliance with the law. So we do adhere to that. And then the lifespan is, we say, about 5 years. We have a good maintenance crew right now with our armory, and so we hope they go past that, but that's what we plan for, and we have a replacement schedule for those. Additionally, in our police cars, our shotguns are no longer a lethal device. They are a less lethal device. That is something that you all approved. We have 86 of them in the fleet, and we have about 850 rounds of those. We use that, again, for less lethal application. So it's another tool available to all the officers. This is essentially what we use them for, the same as the launchers. It's just a little more, it's smaller, compact. We have more of them available, and they're in every single police car, so less expensive and readily available. So in 2024, we had an armed suicidal subject. He was not complying with the officers. There was public around. He had a knife to his throat. He was threatening people in the parking lot. He dropped the knife. Our officers were negotiating with him, and then he lunged after the knife. Our officers deployed a less lethal device, and they were able to safely take him into custody with no injury. So in that case, or in those cases, we used it one time, and there were no complaints, there were no injuries. All of that gets submitted to the city attorney to go through the IPA, the independent police auditor. And all of our staff every year, we receive 200 hours, cumulative hours of training. So our people are very versed in using these tools. And as you can see, in a pretty high tense situation, its application was used appropriately and within policy. And so our approval tonight is we want to continue to be able to use our military equipment. We think that having it available helps support our de-escalation efforts, and that it properly equips our officers with the technology that we are trained to use, as well as something that we're seeing a lot more often in a lot of the training we're going to is de-escalation and less lethal options. So our recommendation, this has been posted on the website for 30 days, the report. And so our recommendation is that you review the report. If the community has any discussion, we take that. And then we renew our ordinance, which implements policy, our military equipment use policy 706. And I think on the first slide it said it was ordinance 984. But either way, we want to renew that ordinance. Or 983, okay. And so that's our recommendation tonight.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Chief. We'll now open it up to the public. Would anyone from the public wish to comment on this? Yes, please, sir, come on up front. Welcome. Could you set the timer to 3 minutes, please? Thank you.
We've all seen what's happened to our country over the last 4 years. But our police departments are vastly outnumbered. We've got 350,000 Chinese national, 30,000 documented Chinese military, not to mention the gangs that have come in. Is there any coordination between our police departments and citizens militia, California citizens militia? Any coordination at all, or do you want it?
They can't answer questions from the dais. You can make your public comment.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
That was directed to you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public wish to comment on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment. And if I can, a motion and a second. We'll then begin the discussion.
I'd like to make a motion that we make the finding regarding the use of military equipment and adopt a resolution renewing ordinance 983, establishing policy 706, relating to the city's military equipment use policy, and finding that this action is exempt from CEQA.
Okay, does that have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, please begin the discussion.
Thank you for the report. I'm heartened to see that you used it once in 2024, but that our people are ready if that needs to happen.
Okay, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the report. I don't have any question.
Okay, please, Councilmember.
Just a clarifying question. It said on there to increase the availability, but I'm not seeing a request to increase what's available. So are we just maintaining the availability?
Yes, we're maintaining everything status quo is what we had last year.
Okay. And then in terms of the report, how can the community engage if they do have questions or feedback? Are they just expected to have online access and ability to send it through there, or what options do they have?
Yeah, so we publish it on the website, and then they're more than welcome to come to the council meeting and have discussion as we do our presentation.
Okay. Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
I don't have any questions, but I appreciate the report.
Neither do I. Does this need to be a roll call vote, or can we do it by affirmation?
It can be by affirmation.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, vote carries 5-0 with no opposition. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go to item 8C. Let me flip the page here. And City Clerk, would you like to introduce the item?
Thank you, Mayor. So the Sonoma County Board of Directors is going to have a special meeting on May 22nd in the city of Rohnert Park. So staff is asking the council to provide direction to the mayor or designee on 3 key topics of regional significance to ensure that the city is represented in discussions that affect the Sonoma County community. We provided some examples for you in the staff report. For example, propose allocation and use of measure of funds, funding support for SAFE team, regional strategies to address homelessness, or other issues that the council may believe might be of importance of.
Okay, can I add a little color to that? So this year, of course, Rohnert Park is the head of mayors and council members, and an idea that I had was that all the jurisdictions, the 9 jurisdictions, would work collectively on 3 points that we would want to put forward for the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors. And so I gave instructions to all of the mayors to go back to their various city councils. We've called a special meeting on the 22nd of May. And so the ask tonight is, what 3 topics would you like me to say Rohnert Park are top priorities in terms of addressing issues with the county in conjunction with the rest of the mayors? And we're going to do this as a ranking system when we, take a vote, and we're just going to go right down the cities, and the issues that rise to the top, those are the top 3 that we've picked. I've also invited the Board of Supervisors and the county administrator to observe this and participate in this process as well. So should I start a public comment on this? We should do that first?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Would anyone from the public care to comment on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment and we'll start the discussion. Please.
Thank you for the leadership here, Mayor. I think this is super important. We should have been doing this always. I think we need to talk about homelessness and a coordinated effort. I know we have these committees like the one Councilwoman Elward serves on, but I think we need to get the mayors in the room. That would be my first one. My second one would be a thorough review of the JPA for the libraries. My understanding is that different cities have a different JPA, so I'd like to get that streamlined.
Okay.
Those are the only 2 I can think of right off the top of my head.
Okay.
I mean, after thinking about it.
Okay, I'll turn to Councilmember Elward, please.
Thank you so much. So one of the things that's subject that I wanted to bring is also the homeless.
Okay.
Because when I look at how the funding is, dispersed sometimes, we need to start working in a more collaborative way. So, to say the least, homeless will be one of my priority. The
Okay.
second one will be Measure O
Okay.
as well. And that because, again, it's based on the funding. It doesn't feel good to see our constituent, come and plead for things that if we didn't have to deal with the funding, we would have provided to them in a heartbeat. And for me, I feel like most of this thing is happening because we are getting cuts from the county. So that will be one of
Number 2, okay.
number 2.
Do you have a third?
Yeah, and so yeah, it's mostly, yeah.
Okay, so just those 2? For now?
For now, yes, Mayor.
Okay, I'll turn to Councilmember Rodriguez, please.
I feel like it's all coupled together. In terms of the unhoused and Measure O, I don't know if there's a way we could, in a sense, lump Measure O, Measure I just got passed, Measure Y, was that the library, or was it W? W, thank you, W. We've got Measure H happening as well. Most of those have an advisory. I think my biggest thing is that we also view this at a lens of the effects on youth. A lot of times we're in these rooms on these days is talking about sustainability, and then we're not looking at how it's affecting a third grader who might experience homelessness and the cycle that puts them in and how long that takes as well. I think we miss that a lot in this county, unfortunately. Same with, even with the library, making sure that they have access and programming and whatnot. So I would say, the unhoused, return to source, I guess, on all measures is what I would say. And then the third, I'm okay with, but I'm asking for a lens of youth advocacy on all of these.
So youth advocacy is one. And then you said Measure O would be another one?
No.
No, I'm sorry, homelessness?
Yes.
Okay. And then the third one?
Is all measures return to source.
Return to source, thank you. Okay, Vice Mayor?
I'll have what Samantha's having.
Yes?
Yeah, I do think that a regional strategy to address homelessness is important. All of these things tie together, and I agree that we aren't putting enough emphasis on the youth.
Okay. Fantastic.
And of course, return to source. I know Susan seconded that one.
Oh, oops, I put it wrong there. Okay, return to source.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so my things would be regional strategy on homelessness, so that's 5-0. Allocation to Measure O funds, and then youth advocacy would be my third. And council members, you have one more pick or whatever you want to.
Actually, what I and I don't know how we say this, but I would like to have the mayors get together and say to the county, how much are you taking out of Rohnert Park, and where is it coming back? I mean, I know it's a return to source, but I mean, where's the accountability?
Okay. So I'll mark that down as return to source if that's.
I will add that too because our constituent contribute a lot and we get less in return.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, I have regional strategies to address homelessness. I have return to source as a number 2, and then I have youth advocacy as number 3.
Thank you, Mayor. And
Okay, so we're going to have a motion in a second.
okay.
No, hang on. I just want to make sure that she's got that captured.
Okay.
So would someone, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Do you want me to ask for the motion, or does it?
No, I can ask for the motion. So can I please get a motion for us to put forward regional strategies to address homelessness, return to source, and youth advocacy?
All motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, perfect. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, seeing none, the motion passes 5-0 with no opposition. Thank you very much, Council, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to 8D, and I think that's going to be you again, Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is before you at the request of a council member to change the start time of the meetings from 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. for the council meetings and the Community Development Commission of the City of Rohnert Park. As you know, they meet, they have joint meetings. I provided some information in the staff report for your consideration, such as, starting later, might push the closed session items, to even later into the evening, and also that the council already has protocol that requires the meetings to adjourn by 11 p.m. So 5:30 p.m. may compress that available time that you have for discussions and public comments. Also, I included information about staff that's already, that begins their work day at 8 a.m., some of them at 7:30 p.m., that, that might result in a really extended workday. I provided also some calculations about the current charges for broadcasting and for closed captioning, and also overtime. At this time, there's no overtime for the clerk staff to be here, because Karen, it's off at 5 p.m. But if we were to start the meeting at 5:30 p.m., then there will be, overtime for the office assistant to help set up for the council meeting. And also there is overtime for IT staff to be here. So I provided estimates. The low will be for one of the technicians whose hourly rate is lower than the other one. So if you want me to go through the numbers and explain how we came up with the numbers, I can do that. Other than that, that's the information that we have, and we're just asking the council to give us direction on what they would like to do.
Okay, before we open this up to public comment, would you like the clerk to go through the numbers on this?
That would be nice so to know, since we are dealing with budget.
Please.
All right. My glasses. Okay, so the broadcasting, typically the meetings are about 3 hours, and the staff, that's coming an hour before to set up. So that means that we're paying 4 hours of broadcasting to PCA to be here, and I calculated the amount based on 26 meetings. That is, our regular meetings plus the 2 budget sessions. We didn't include all the special meetings that we have in here. So the total for that, it's a little bit different than what you have in your staff report. I miscalculated. So the actual cost right now is $8,840. So we do have an agreement for them to come in at 4 p.m. to set up. So if we want to, change the time to 5:30 p.m. So we're adding $50 per meeting. For 26 meetings, that'll be an additional $1,300. The cost is going to go up on July 1st when we enter the new contract with PCA. So the new total will be $10,140. For closed captioning, again, calculated a 4-hour minimum that we have. For 26 meetings, that's $540 per meeting for a total of $14,040. So if we do increase it, we have that extra half an hour for them to wait while they set up and start the meeting. That's $105 per meeting. 26 meetings is an additional $2,730. Then your total will be $16,770. Now, the impact is seen more on the staff overtime. So clerk staff, there's no overtime at this time, so that's 0. I calculated half an hour hourly rate for the office assistant, which is $41.75. 26 meetings, that's $1,085. So that will be an increase. for IT, so again, calculated half an hour extra for them. There's one technician whose hourly rate is 45 overtime rate, so that will be 1,170. And there's another technician whose overtime hourly rate is 66.78. For if we had 26 meetings, then there will be an increase of 1,766. So you see in the chart what we are actually paying the IT staff. Let's say that they came in at 8 a.m., and stay here until 8 p.m. So that's the annual cost and overtime, and the increase if we have them, still come in at 8 a.m., but then stay a little bit longer. And then at the end, there's a low end taking, I don't want to use the word cheaper, but the cheaper IT technician. The current total is $26,390 annually. There will be an increase of $7,285, and their unit total is $33,675. And for the higher paid technician, and that will be an increase of $6,870 for a new total of $34,969. So that's how I calculated these numbers.
Thank you.
Thanks, City Manager.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Thank you very much. At this time, we'll go to public comment. We do have a card from Mr. Steve Keith. Please, welcome again, Steve.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and staff. I've always wanted more public to show up to these meetings, and is open to any ideas of how we might achieve that goal. A later start time has always come up in conversation because of what people's work schedules are like. Tonight was an interesting little case study because I was really happy to see all the folks that showed up. And it was for item 6, which is for items not on the agenda. So it wasn't a particular item that got people going, trailer parking or fireworks. 2 people talked about flooding on Hartwood. We had 1 person about the expansion. We had about a half a dozen people, not including people that supported them, regarding tennis courts. We had a bunch of people come in about Labath, housing related, and a lot of people here in support that did not speak. So a lot of people did show up. A lot of people can show up. It's difficult for me to speak on the labor estimates. I used to run a monthly town hall style meeting for Mission Police Station, and I worked during the day at the captain's staff. So on those meetings, I just started later because they weren't going to pay me overtime to run a town hall meeting with the captain. So I just started later, and I don't know how that might be negotiated to help with some of those costs. But I would definitely support a survey or a study to measure public interest. And hey, if we started 30 minutes later, how many would show up on, for an item or on a regular basis? But I appreciate at least having the discussion available to the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public like to speak on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll begin our discussion. Please.
Hats off to Sylvia for coming up with all these numbers, because when I first heard this, I thought, oh, we moved from 5 to 5:30. What's the big deal? Turns out it's a bigger deal than I thought. Thank you very much for your careful consideration. I personally am happy with 5 o'clock. If it was to me, we'd start at 4 o'clock. But this is why there's not only one of us, because reason will prevail here. Thank you.
Okay, council member.
Thank you, Mayor. I was also excited for the 5:30 to start a little bit later to help our constituent to be able to join us. However, we are talking about budget, and I see that's going to be an increase. So I am a little bit torn to kind of like, I mean, today it was already hard enough, like I said in my previous comment, to see the constituent coming and plead on projects, on things, on housing, fear of being cut. So I'm a little bit torn on this. I mean, I know that's going to be beneficial for them to be able to join, and it's going to be easy for those of us that work 8 to 5 jobs. So I'm kind of torn a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to come back for questions. Want to hear what everybody else have to say.
Okay. Councilmember?
Thank you for the report. I know that I had requested this on, initially just basically on 2 bases. One, for anybody that wants to run for council that works an 8 to 5 or doesn't have as much flexibility, it sometimes gives that just a little bit of a buffer to like take a break and switch your mind into city council. And then also we see when we have so many people attending and the lack of parking, it allows our employees to leave and opens up some parking spaces as well, and allows the public to show up when they're working until their 5 p.m. Jobs and commitments. And now the numbers, it sounds like this is based on not adjusting those to push back half an hour either. So broadcasting would increase because we're saying they're still going to come in at 4 and not adjusting for 4:30. Is that correct? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. And but regardless, their fee is going to increase with the new agreement that we're.
So that increase has nothing to do with this request of potentially starting at 5:30. The increase is still happening.
No, the increase is happening, but it's also, an extra $50 calculated for them to come in at 4 p.m. and stay until 5:30.
So right now they come in at 4 p.m. for us to start at 5. What if they came in at 4:30 p.m. for us to start at 5:30 p.m.?
I don't know that we can negotiate that. The agreement's already been signed, so we could try to talk to the consultant, the vendor, and see. They do bill us, like, after a certain amount of time, they do bill you in certain increments.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it was calculated.
But we still would end at 11 o'clock because that protocol isn't subject to change right now. So we're not I guess my point is we're not increasing their time. We're actually decreasing it by half an hour. So it might level itself out. Because if we're starting at 5:30, it's not like we're going to get an extra increment because we're starting at 4:30, for example, and they'd have to come in half an hour earlier. It would be shifting them half an hour behind. So that's why I'm confused on this increase of if we were to say, yeah, let's start at 5:30, do they need to be here an hour and a half, or does it still stay at an hour where they're already at now?
I'm not sure. I mean,
okay.
It's up to them. They come in at 4 p.m. to set up. As you know, there's a lot of technicalities.
Yeah.
They're
So if they
testing the
can,
sound, the broadcast, and a lot of things that they
so if they can do it an hour now, in theory, they could do it in an hour if this were to push back.
So what I would suggest is that that you give, if you want to change the time, we can always go back regardless. I mean, there's going to be some potential costs, whatever that is. I think we just need to have direction on whether or not you want to start later. Obviously, if that is the direction, I think independent of cost, that's your direction, that's your direction. So that would be my suggestion. I understand the calculation.
And I want to clarify,
sure,
the costs that are represented is not shifting it for that time, not even as like a model of, if you were to shift back half an hour, this is what it would look like. This is keeping it at where they're at now. Because my next question would be, clerk staff overtime, do they need to be here until the start time to set up, or can they set up within their working hours?
Yes, I mean, that could be adjusted. We can definitely
There's,
do that, but I guess
If I
I'll.
may, the office assistant that's here setting up meets with the people who are doing the pledge and anyone who's taking photos with the council. So she's got to get these people to sign their releases, the photo releases, which are legally required. So,
So could that potentially be looked at as a shift adjustment in those instances?
but the HR director is here, so I'm not sure that we can ask an employee to change their schedule to accommodate that. I know that before, some people, they're allowed to have overtime, they can do comp time, or they can flex, whatever they would like to do.
I think that's what I'm thinking. Comp or flex is what I'm saying. Like, are there other options? Because I want to make sure that we're clear on what options are out there before we're giving direction, and that's why it's the purpose of questions. So I'm not negating these numbers, I'm just wanting to clarify them. And how many times is IT non-salaried position here? Because that's looking at every single meeting here, and I can tell you, in my recollection, they're not here every single meeting. So I appreciate that it's the highest level so that we know up to the cost. But I also feel like we also need to be clear and fair to the public of how many times are we having folks that are non-salaried actually attending our meetings, and so what that looks like.
You know, again, we give you the lowest estimate, we give you the highest estimate. Sometimes, you know, our equipment runs very smoothly. Sometimes, you know, we do have, in a lot of cases, we have our IT manager, which he's salaried, so, I mean, he can adjust his schedule. We can certainly look at, I mean, the employee does have the option of whether or not they can choose if they want overtime or comp time. It's up to the employee with the way our policies read right now with, in terms, and MOUs read. So yes, they have that option. Again, I think it's important that, you know, whatever the direction is, you know, there's a cost implication to it. And sometimes in certain cases, you don't know what the actual cost is until you implement something.
And the low-end estimate, I'm just clarifying again, that's including overtime if those employees are here at every meeting, correct?
Correct.
That's how it was calculated, even though we have seen in the past few years they are not at every meeting. So that's not your lowest estimate.
That's correct. I mean, we can obviously, you know, to your point, that sometimes the staff is not here, sometimes they are. And so it could be less, it could be higher.
Okay. And please don't get me wrong, I appreciate the work put in because it gives us a good snapshot of what the cost implications could be. But I also want to make sure that we're clear on, like anything, there could be room for adjustment on these, or renegotiations, like you said, with our broadcasting services of what that might look like should we give direction to move forward with a 5:30 start. Is that correct?
That is correct. We would go back and figure out it. I mean, like I said, it could be, always could be less, it could be more.
Yeah. Okay, I think those are all my questions for now.
And did you want to give direction or not yet? No. Okay.
My thoughts as of the moment are that the other meetings that we host here, such as the Planning Commission, Mobile Home, Parks and Rec, are all 5:30 or 6 p.m. So I don't think it would be unusual for us to start a little later. I like to be in bed by 8, but that is my personal preference, and I realized what I signed up for when I did commit to this. My questions would be, if this were something we wanted to trial, could we revert back if we didn't love it? If people weren't coming in and attending in droves as a result of the time change? I don't know who would really answer that question. Can we try it and go back to 5 o'clock if we don't like it?
If the council wants to change the time of the meeting, say what we had to do administratively will be like to bring the resolution back to you.
Okay.
To approve the change for the meetings, right? And then change the council protocols as well. And if the council wanted to change it again, they will have to bring it back. You know, someone will have to request it at a council meeting. There will have to be another staff report for discussion.
I would say practically that whenever a council is changing the time of a meeting, it's not something that you would want to change back.
Okay.
For a number of reasons. We are required by law to give notice to our residents of the regular meeting time And so it goes through many changes. We have to, notice, we have to change our code. We have to, there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of administrative, bureaucratic things that happen. So generally, you want to give your community time to understand the new change before you then start changing it again.
Okay. Well, and that was going to be my other question is what is the messaging process to the public? I know we get the notifications by email when the agenda comes out. What other kind of steps would have to be taken?
Well, legally, the other steps would be, we have certain noticing requirements for ordinance changes, right? I don't know what other, staffing notifications need to be made, but I would say, the biggest legal requirement is just the requirement for, providing noticing. And that's just, generally, 10 days and then, publication in the paper, 10 days prior to the hearing and.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. I'm not really sure where to go with this.
Okay, well, we're going to have to decide at one point, so I'll go back to Councilmember Elward. Would you like to articulate, or I'll recognize Susan first? Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to add the fact that we have our directors here, who some of them have small children at home. Not that that's ought to be the deciding factor here, but just one other thing to consider.
Okay, Jack. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I appreciate that, but we're not changing the end time.
What do you mean we're not changing the end time?
We're not changing the end time. We're only asking to change the beginning time. So our protocol still says 11 p.m. end.
Oh, we start at 5:30 and we usually go 2.5 hours. We're changing our end time by a half an hour.
In practice, but our protocol still says, so am I correct in that your staff would know these meetings could go up to 11 p.m., I guess is my.
That is correct. Right now, the end time is 11, unless the council decides to proceed later.
Yeah, no, I don't want that later. No.
Oh, it's happened.
Okay, Councilmember Elward, please.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Councilmember Rodriguez, so the change will be just the beginning, and we keep whatever is in our protocol now as the end at 11.
Unless someone brings it forward to want to change it.
No, okay.
I guess I'll say this. I understand, just to say, Vice Mayor Sanborn said it right. She would prefer to be home at 8. We historically have had very, very efficient meetings. Yeah. Very rarely do we finish past 8.
Right.
I think very rarely we will finish past 8:30 if we were to keep it that way. But we're not asking to change the protocol gives us time until 11 p.m. I'm not advocating that we go until 11 p.m., unless we absolutely had to. But I also don't want to confuse folks thinking that it shifts that end time as well.
Madam City Manager, I have a question. Do you think that, I know that part of some of our constituent, we want to see the time change, but do you think that it will be wise or something for us to do like a little survey to ask them so that they're part of this discussion?
You can always do a survey. I think you can, in fact, Steve Keith, and I always admire him because I really commend him because he makes the time to come in, whether we meet at 3, 4, or 5 or earlier. So I think in terms of the public, as you witnessed this evening, if there is an issue of concern, they will show up. And so people make the time. As far as accommodating, I think to the point of Councilmember Rodriguez, where she's pointing out that perhaps for somebody that may be interested in running for city council and they do have an 8 to 5 job, I could see where maybe the extra time would allow them to be able to, get some dinner, or because you just don't know how long the meeting is going to take. So I think there's benefit to it if you want to start later. But in terms of public participation, clearly we have seen that if there is an issue of concern, people will make the time to come in and meet and come here and provide their public comment. Is it, easier for 5:30? Perhaps, because, perhaps, people work, and so by the time they get, settled and come out to the council chambers, there's benefit. So I think that there's benefit. If you want to conduct a survey, we can do that. But I think at the end, you'll find that probably, there is a benefit to it.
So when it comes to the cost, do you think that will have an impact? Like what kind of impact are we looking at here? Because we saw the numbers, obviously it's not. Like what kind of impact are we looking at in the future? I just want to make sure that we are clear on all angles. I don't have any preference, 5:30 or why not, but I want to make sure that we also are clear on the cost.
So in terms of the financial impact, they're obviously depending on how long the meeting could be, I guess to the point that was made about ending, sometimes we've ended meetings at 8:30, closer to 9 o'clock. So it really depends on the broadcasting and how, we work with the company. So there could, we do obviously are seeing increases, just normal increases for that contract. In terms of staffing, we can try to see and accommodate staff, so that way, they start their day later if that's what they choose to do, or, if they choose overtime, that's gonna be up to them because they do have that choice. So there's gonna be some minimal impact. It's just, like I said, until we apply it, you don't really, see what the true cost is until the change is done. We're just giving you estimates at this point.
Okay, because I like the city attorney say, if we're gonna go to 5:30, we just stick to 5:30, not to try 5:30 and then go back to 5. Yeah, I'm open either way.
Would it make more sense, because I'm still kind of stuck on this broadcasting thing, fees are gonna go up anyways. Were those fees included in here, or this is only on if they still came at 4 o'clock and didn't adjust half an hour behind?
No, I did not include the increase in there.
Okay, so.
Just calculated if there was an extra half an hour in there.
Okay, so I'm trying to think if maybe that's the direction of if we can get a bit clearer on the numbers, if it were to shift half an hour, what that actually looks like. And in terms of staffing, maybe to know a better number of how often hourly staff were here the last 2 or 3 years, because if that is a way smaller dent, that can change things. If it's like, no, they've actually been here 98% of the time and you've just been busy staring at your agenda, then I understand that as well. But because this is calculating them being here every meeting.
Right. The only, it's not a legal problem, it's more of a practical problem. I'm not sure, would you be able to gather that data from 2 years ago? How would you know exactly who was here and who wasn't?
Well, they would have had to put in something to say they took comp time, flex time, or overtime, wouldn't they?
The staff that is present at the meetings is usually in the minutes, so you could review minutes for the past 2 years to see who's been here. Again, in my humble opinion, the only negotiation that you have is just for broadcasting and closed captioning, not for staff, I don't believe. The what?
So we can go back and relook at, the calculation of the salaries, assuming that, I think the other issue, and obviously it's in our, as supervisors, we can ask, hey, to minimize costs, we will not have staff here. I think that's the other way that we can manage this and focus on the broadcasting, and then, we can definitely figure out, that's what we're doing overall with our budget, is trying to adjust. Again, if the direction is to start at 5:30, we will figure out how do we keep the cost to a minimum. I think really it's a policy question whether or not you want to start at 5:30. And then we can figure out, rather than having staff go back 2 years and analyze this, I think we just need direction. If the direction is to start at 5:30, then we have to figure out how do we keep this cost to a minimum. That would be my recommendation.
How soon would the 5:30 start if that was the direction given?
There's a lot of, so there's publication, there's drafting of the ordinance. I would say at least a month and a half before you see it on your agenda. Then it would take 2 readings, and after the final reading, then at 30 days before it goes into effect. So you're looking at least 3 to 4 months before the 5:30 time would, I think, practically start. And then some cities actually want to make sure that there's enough noticing to the community so that they're aware, so sometimes they extend the time. But, it's totally up to the council, but in terms of the legally, the opportunity to have it without additional time being given, I would say, 2 to 3 months.
Okay. Any other? I don't know if anyone else has questions, but I'm having a hard time giving direction, kind of noting that these numbers could be way less. And that might be a decision maker for some folks, or a factor that comes into that decision as we look at the budget.
Can I make a comment too?
Sure.
I think I have a lot of respect for your concern for people who might want to run for office and need a later start time. And if someone was elected and needed that, I think we'd all say, hey, let's move it. No question asked, right?
Well, that's how this came about, so there is questions being asked.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if this is a work thing for you and you can't get here by 5 o'clock, let's have it. Well, then we're switching, right? My schedule's flexible. If your schedule needs a change, then like the city manager said, if this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do.
I will say that meeting times are usually changed due to a council member's schedule. Just, for whatever it's worth. I'm not saying that's the only time, but what I'm used to seeing, there's usually a council member, and it's usually the beginning of their term. And, they have 4 years, and they just can't make it at the start time, so it is changed. During COVID, a lot of meeting times were changed, not for council preference, but people did not want, we were all, remote. So having it early was not an issue. I've had some council members, stick to that early time period. I have had some who go back to their, pre-COVID time periods, but it's been, 3 or 4 years and the pandemic's over. So I think what the city manager is trying to say, and I agree with her, it really is up to the 5 of you. It isn't really about what does your community want, because it's hard to survey. It's hard to know what they really want. It's hard to know, as the city manager has said, people will show up if there's an important issue. But the real, discussion is about what the 5 of you, what would you prefer your start time to be? And if you have a council member who has time restrictions, that person needs to discuss what those time restrictions are, because usually that will be a deciding factor for what it's worth.
Well, I do think it's that you have 3 non-business owners on your council currently, and when we just had a election year, and I heard a lot from people of like, well, why don't you run? Or, well, the time constraints, and I don't want to use my vacation time just so that I can make sure I can make it on time, right? And so some folks are off at 4:30, and just being able to have that buffer for traffic. We're assuming people work where they live. Most people commute. And that's kind of how this started. I'm going into year 4 of my time here, I think. Maybe year 3. It's all been a blur. But I'm trying to think of the sustainable access when we're saying that these are our goals and our values. what are we doing for the next Councilmember Adams, Councilmember Alward, Councilmember Rodriguez, Mayor, Vice Mayor? What kind of access are we providing?
And I think when that person's here, we make the change, no questions asked.
And what Samantha is saying, that person may never speak up and may never run because they would see the limitation before they raise their hand. I can say when I was working full-time, it was stressful trying to get here in time for the meeting. So, I mean, I'm open to doing 5:30. Me personally, I would love for it to start at 5 because I would like to get home and see my kids go to sleep. But they know that it's anybody's guess when we're going to end. And so changing the start time, I don't think will impact us greatly. It's 30 minutes. We've spent 30 minutes here talking about it today. So I think we should just go for it.
Council members?
Well, I'm gonna, I have a normal job too, and it's stressful. I got here late. I was working, but I used all my vacation time. But anyways, you know, I will support the 5:30 if one of us is in that particular situation of restraint and need to have that time. And again, I have to be clear and true to myself. I'm worried about, again, we talk about the budget. And that's where I'm going back. If it wasn't for what we're going through right now, there's no question about it. But again, there won't be any question if one of us is in that situation right now and need those changes happening. I'll be supportive of it.
So what does that mean? So you're in favor of the change? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
I would just say I'm in support of it, but are we amenable to maybe if we say a start time of like January to give time? Like it wouldn't go into effect until January, so that especially with the budget, should we see the numbers are like a massive increase, there's already built-in time and kind of cushion, and it would start with the next mayoral cycle. Are we amenable to that? Like, so it wouldn't change necessarily in the next 6 weeks, it would change in 6 months.
So that will allow also staff to make sure to look into the budget. I'm comfortable with that if that makes sense to the city manager.
Again, it's the decision of the council whether you implement it, as the attorney said, within, the time to change the time, or if you want to make it effective January, it is up to you. In terms of budget, it's not going to change the outcome. I think it's just a matter of what is the policy decision of the council.
Vice Mayor?
We can always bring it back in December.
What?
So are you amenable to this with the start time of January the 1st?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I think we have direction, correct? Okay, fantastic.
Was it?
What's that? We should read the motion?
No,
Have a motion? Okay. It just said direction, sorry. It said discussion and direction, so.
Well, that sort of, we didn't know that anybody was gonna, that you want to take action. If you don't want to take action and you want to still consider it, then don't make a motion. But if you want staff to move forward.
But we were just being told that they need direction, so we're giving what our direction is.
Right, but.
So the direction.
But it's okay to clarify that direction in a motion. I mean, I don't know if the city manager doesn't care, but usually city managers and city attorneys prefer clarity, especially when there's been this kind of discussion, and it would just require a motion. We want to move the meeting time to 5:30.
starting January 1st.
Starting January 1st.
Please.
Yeah, so I have a question for clarification. Can we bring it back sometime before we pick the next mayor and talk about it? Or is this is just an action?
That's a,
You okay with that, Samantha?
That would be different, Councilmember Elward. From what I guess from what I heard, and I'm sure City Clerk can verify, I heard that you are interested in changing the time to 5:30, but you don't want it implemented until January 1st, correct? I think that's why it's important that we get the clarification and that we
Have a
roll
motion.
call, because I think this is where confusion is created.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to bring it back, what would you want them to bring back? I think that's where the confusion comes in. Because when we're asking staff to bring it back, it's because we want them to give us either more numbers or more something. So what are we asking?
To have more numbers. Does that make sense?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think is just like we're doing with the budget. You know, if there is a priority that the council has, is there a certain action that you want implemented, then it's up to us to figure out operationally how we're going to bring that forward. If the direction, which is what I understood, at least from the majority of you, you want to start at 5:30, but effective January 1st. At this point, the budget or the impact of the budget is going to be determined, because we won't really know the implication of the change until it's implemented. But if that is the decision of the council that you want to start at 5:30, then that is what we will do. And we will figure out operationally how do we handle that and how do we minimize the impact to the budget.
And if the council isn't ready to make a motion, then the mayor could just go down and take a straw vote. That would be fine too. Just to try, we need to move it along to make a decision. So, either a motion, I thought the motion was just, I thought I was just being technical. I thought a motion had been made, frankly, and I just didn't hear it. But if it wasn't, and you don't want to make a motion, and you still want to discuss this, then the mayor should just have a straw vote, go down and have all 5 council members say, do you want to keep the 5 o'clock start time or move it to 5:30? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay? That's what I'll do. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I like to keep the start time at 5 o'clock.
Thank you. Council member, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah. I know. I'm not. Okay. I would like to give the next generation an opportunity to be able to participate in civic duties, and it pains me because I'm concerned about the budget, but 5:30, I will go with 5:30.
Starting January 1st.
Yes.
Okay? Yes?
5:30 starting January 1st.
Okay? Yes?
5:30, yes.
Okay, fantastic, and I'm fine with that as well. Thank you. Okay. Would you like to take a short break, or can I just have the vice mayor run the meeting for just a couple of seconds?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
Or should we take 6 minutes? Or should we take 4 minutes?
Coalition, and then Sonoma Clean Power, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So, got my report here. For our April, I was gonna say in the French, for our April 23rd Homeless Coalition Board, the main issue was that the board discussed in the April meeting was that the funding allocation for the local homeless services, NOFA. So we talked about, the multiple ways of how that money would be allocated. Again, that is a reminder that talking to the other mayors throughout our region is a good idea because we will need a group effort in order to talk about those funding. So one of the funding that we talk about was the NOFA. And then this is the main funding source for many core homeless services program, including the Catholic Charity Family Center and the CUTS, Mary Isaac Shelter. So a lot of those services for us, for example, we are getting that cut. And reason why today we had a lot of our constituents coming to speak on, especially about those programs. Due to reduction in states and COVID fund, the total funding available was 1.7 million less than last year. So based on this deficit, the board voted to reduce funding by 17% for all programs. The board also decided not to fund any new program. So we have funding issues there. So, and that's have been, it was a long discussion that took pretty much almost like an hour or more just to discuss on that NOFA fund. The next one is the Sonoma Clean Power meeting, and that was really quick. Sonoma Clean Power is really thriving when it comes to finances, programs, and why not. So we just did the basic thing. We received internal operation reports, and also we kind of provided a few feedback to our staff. On the legislative and regulatory part, we had updates on certain bills. I wrote it down, but Mayor, I forgot my resume at home since I came straight from work to here. I will give it next time when we come. So the next thing was we received a really great update on our program that support electric vehicle and charging stations. That was one of the greatest update that I heard, because Sonoma Clean Power is really pushing not only those programs not only to regular customer, but also low-income customer to be able to get into those charging stations. And a lot of people don't have charging stations at home, so they are trying to provide it so that when you are at work, you have your charging, you can charge your car while at work and no need to worry about the house. And also, we direct the staff to study the feasibility of expanding Sonoma Clean Power Authority service to Lake County, California. So we are expanding And so Lake County Board of Supervisors asked us to do some studies in order to see if us expanding to Lake County will be beneficial for both Sonoma Clean Power and our customer. So that would be it for me.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Rodriguez, the golf court.
Yeah, I unfortunately was not able to attend as I was out of town, but our Director of Public Works, Vanessa, was kind enough to give me the rundown. The city clerk provided the oath of office for 2 new members on the Golf Course Oversight Committee, members Johnson and Bailey. We got an update that golf rounds are up this quarter, especially with the nice weather, so we hope to keep that going. And they have a few events coming up. Dollar Day will be on June 20th, and our next meeting will be on July 15th, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember, Vice Mayor Sanborn, the WAC.
Hi. I find this one hard to recap, but I will give you a few of the highlights. We met on May 5th, and some of the takeaways would be related to water supply and the coordination that is continuously improving. They had a little re-education for our members, some of our newer members, on the different levers within our control to manage the amount of water that is in Lake Sonoma and coming out. That's done in partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers. So in short, I took away that the improvements that we have made in regards to forecast-informed reservoir operations, which are kind of like the roadmap, basically give us another 10 to 15% more water storage within our existing infrastructure directly as a result of better planning, better coordinating. Obviously, water levels right now in Lake Sonoma and Lake Mendocino are looking fabulous. Let's see, what else did I want to share? Eel Russian facility, the new Eel Russian facility, the NERF, is still in about 60% design phase. Some of the federal funding was frozen, and then a little bit, but not all of it was unfrozen. So that is still a challenge. We got some updates on different education outreach programs, water saving programs, which I've shared with you about in the past. I did personally go to the Warm Springs Dam today to take a tour with my kids' class. That's part of the outreach and education that they do, and it was phenomenal to see all the beautiful little baby salmon. They're working so hard to ensure that that population is healthy, and this is one of their best years yet. So it's very encouraging. It was really neat to see the kids out there taking it all in. It really gave me a lot of hope. So those are a few highlights.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Golden Gate Bridge. We approved some emergency repairs to the boarding ramps at Larkspur Ferry Terminal. Our federal grants to the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, continue to be held. But we did receive some good news from Federal Highway Administration that they are no longer frozen, so we can restart our ramps and gangway projects again, which is great. They need replacement, and we can also start on the replacement for the Del Norte Ferry, which is really good news. With regards to traffic along the 101 corridor, it remains flat. As a result, our revenue is flat. Honestly, the shining star of the system has been the ferries, which has seen an increase of over 25% over the last year. In particular, our special event service is doing very well, and we took over the blue and gold going to Angel Island, so we're kind of supplementing it with tourist stuff, so that's good. Let's hope the Giants continue to win. The other contributing factor, honestly, is much better coordination between SMART and GGB, with the addition of the shuttle between the two. With regards to Sonoma County Transportation Authority, we approved budgets yesterday, and we've segued, of course, from Measure M to Go Sonoma funding. We received a lengthy report on how the process to replace the gas tax will roll out. Because the amount of EVs on the road are increasing, and we're leaving over the next 5 years $30 million on the table in the state of California, monies that would have gone to road repair. Also, with regards to Measure M, about 40% of that money was going to the 101 project, and now that 101 is almost complete, the county will have a greater supply of money to be used for transportation projects in the near future. Most importantly, and this is where you can all help me, we have discovered, or it has been revealed, that there is $14.1 million that the county has in mitigation money from the tribe, and that mitigation money is supposed to be used to mitigate the impacts of the casino. And this will be rolled out over a number of years, and I've spoken with staff about it. The money has to be used for traffic impact mitigation, and I couldn't think of a better place for it to be used than Rohnert Park. So if you are speaking with our supervisors or other board members from SCTA, I would appreciate the assistance. And finally, I've alerted staff and have passed on all the information with regards to the upcoming call for projects this summer, and so I know that they're on it, and hopefully we'll be able to submit for 5 projects. So thank you, and thank you to staff, worked so hard. Segueing to mayors and council members. Received a very nice presentation on the master plan on aging by Angela Struckman and Paul Dunaway from Human Services Department. And I didn't get an opportunity to send this to you today. Things were a little crazy, but I will send this to you soon so you can see that. And it was a very nice presentation. So we'll now go to Chamber of Commerce noon times. I was not there.
I was at Chamber of Commerce noon times.
Okay, thank
and
you.
we had a very nice presentation by Lisa left. The people who give you advice, they used to be in business and they come help businesses. I think it's called
Consulting.
SCORE.
Oh.
Yes, SCORE. Yes, SCORE. Thank you. Saved by the city manager. It was an interesting presentation, and they have a great service that if someone's running a small business and they need some help, these are the folks to call. So.
Thank you. Zero waste, please, Vice Mayor.
I'm sure it'll be a great meeting on Thursday. I'll let you know how it goes.
No, the Zero Waste Symposium.
Oh, Zero Waste. No, I had a moment where I was like, it didn't happen, did it? No, the Zero Waste Symposium was fantastic as always. They had a wonderful lineup of speakers who are just complete experts in their field. Everything from learning about biochar and how it speeds up decomposition of compost to I learned how to make jam in one of the breakout sessions. We got to see a really fantastic gas vehicle that had been converted to electric. And yeah, I highly recommend people attend. City manager was there as well. And anything else fun to add?
Anything to add?
Favorite?
I think the biggest takeaway was just seeing that older make of a vehicle converted into an electric vehicle. I think that was the highlight, just to be able to see that happen, and the possibility of, I guess a vehicle being converted like that was, I think, really intriguing.
I would say what I tend to take away from the Zero Waste Symposium is innovation. People take a problem, usually in their immediate community, usually a scarcity of a resource or support, and they turn it around and just make it, spinning straw into gold. It really is a fantastic program. Highly recommend.
Okay, thank you very much. Communication, any of the council members? Please.
I do. First up is tomorrow, District 1 is having a town hall. You can find more information on our city's social media accounts. And tomorrow also kicks off Sonoma State University's cultural graduations. They will be hosting the Rainbow graduation and the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander graduation. On the 15th, it is La Raza graduation. On the 16th, they're hosting both the Native Indigenous graduation and Black graduation. And then this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, is the overall school's graduation. So just be mindful of traffic, especially with things going on in District 1, down to Southwest, and I think there was one more place. I forgot. I apologize. But congratulations to all the grads. I know this year, especially the semester, was very bittersweet for many of them, but they've persevered through that and made sure that they got to their finish line. On the 15th, this Thursday, is also Los Cien's immigration update taking place over at Sally Tomatoes. On Saturday, the 17th, Latino Service Providers is hosting their annual mental health event, Stomp the Stigma. That will take place out in Windsor. And then on Sunday, the 18th, although it's not really related to us, but I think is important, Healdsburg is naming one of their facilities after their former mayor, Abel de Luna, and Dolores Huerta is said to be attending this event. So people are free to join and attend that. And then on May 19th, Greenbelt Alliance has extended their deadline. So May 19th is the deadline to submit a nomination for a Hidden Hero Award from the Greenbelt Alliance. And then our chamber has their AM network on the 21st, and they are selling out for their golf tournament on May 30th. And that's it.
Okay, other announcements?
Yeah, yesterday I was able to attend a private reception for now Dr. Jong Lee and Dr. Christopher Stewart. They are two amazing professors that have helped Sonoma State a lot. So it was kind of sweet to see that and to hear the story. Dr. Lee is 84 years old, and it was kind of amazing to see what he has accomplished, especially for Sonoma State and the city of Oakland. So also on Cinco de Mayo, I volunteered. I volunteered at the event, and it was great to see a lot of our Rancho Cotati student volunteered at the event, and there was about 7,000 people that showed up that day. So it was a great event.
Thank you. Did you have something?
Yep. Two. One, Monday, the 2nd of June, the Asian American Pacific Islander Coalition of the North Bay is going to be having a business networking mixer. It is on their website, aapicnorthbay.org. And second, related to graduation, Recology is going to be doing, has a volunteer opportunity for anybody who's interested in wanting to help with move out at the dorms. If anyone's ever moved out of college, it's kind of chaos. You just kind of leave everything and go. And so what they're finding is there's a lot of contamination, this doesn't go in that bin. And so volunteers are going to be helping people get things in the right bin, and if there's anything that's recoverable, like furniture, we're going to have the Redwood Gospel Mission, Redwood Gospel Mission or Flipside, is going to be there to take those donations. So a very clever solution, kind of a win-win for everybody, and the food bank is going to be there accepting donations too. So that is May 17th and 18th from 8 to 3. And if you'd like to participate, I can get you more information. Send me an email.
Okay, adding agenda items to a future city council meeting?
I just have one question, and I don't know how we would do this, but earlier you suggested that we talk to our elected officials about county disbursement of funds, et cetera. Would it be appropriate to have just a small agenda item where we could kind of talk and strategize about that? Because
do we need that to be at a council meeting, or?
I mean, because I could call and talk to one person, but I can't call and say, okay, who are you going to call? Who are you going to call? Who are you going to call?
That wouldn't be something that would ever come before the council, so we wouldn't be Brown Act violation, is it?
No.
So I can call whoever I want.
It wouldn't come to council if we're going to talk to supervisors about potential funds from
correct. That's what
county to city.
But that is something that relates to something to the city of Rohnert Park. Okay. So whether it is coming before the council, the issue is whether it's something that is of interest to the city of Rohnert Park. And if it is, then a quorum of you cannot discuss it outside of a public meeting.
Okay, so does that have a second person who's interested in doing that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we'll add that to an agenda, but I just want to get clarification as to what we're adding.
Well, that's right. I was going to say, I need clarification. What is the item?
Yeah.
So the item is to discuss how council members can work in concert with one another to contact,
To advocate
on behalf of the city with elected members of the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, is that okay?
If it's related to some of the priorities that are being discussed through the mayors and council members, is that already being accomplished? Or are you thinking about a specific
We have some
topic?
specific things that are just Rohnert Park centric.
That's got return to source written all over it, in which we just agreed was a
But
priority.
we don't want to get too deep in this so that we break the Brown Act here.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay,
I mean, we're trying to get clarity on what is the item.
okay.
That's the item, is that?
Okay, and that's okay with you?
So is it a discussion on coordination of what, I guess, which
Strategy.
council member is going to talk to which board of supervisor?
Well, to discuss a strategy for talking to electeds, not just maybe county electeds, but legislators, right? We could throw that in there so that we could kind of figure out who we should be talking to and who can talk to who. And again, I don't know that that's something we want to do in a city council meeting, but I don't know how else to discuss it.
But don't you think that is based on relationship too?
Right.
Because sometimes some people will have a better relationship with a legislator, and it's easier for them to talk to that particular person than
Couldn't agree
the
with you
other one.
more. Now, can we talk about it in a meeting?
Well, I guess the issue, if I were the city manager, I'd be wondering, this is just a general topic, and what, usually, if you're talking about talking to legislators, you're going to have something to talk to them about. So what is the topic that you want to talk to legislators about? Otherwise, what is the point? You want to have lunch with them? You just want to get to know them? I mean, we need more clarity on what your goal is. Are you talking about, is it about return to source funding, or is it?
You know, let me flesh this out with the city manager. Yeah. Let me flesh this out with the city manager and the mayor, and then come back. How's that?
I think that would be helpful, because what has been happening when we get this type of direction during here, and I think you saw it tonight with some of the public comments, is people hear that you guys are bringing this up as a council, and then they say, well, when are you bringing this back? So I think, in this kind of situation, it would be helpful if it comes to the city manager and have a conversation with the mayor so we can figure out what is the item, what is the topic. So I appreciate that we can do further follow-up. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, public comment, anyone wishing to address the council one final time? Yes, sir, please, welcome. You've been waiting patiently.
Yes, I have, and I had to leave.
You had it.
You had it.
I had to leave earlier because I'm the president of the Rohnert Park Tennis Club, and I had 24 players waiting for me because we have organized tennis on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights. We have over 96 players who play over those 3 nights of play. The courts need to be resurfaced, okay? But I want to educate you all about the Rohnert Park Tennis Club. Started in 1975. It was spearheaded by Jim McCain, who at that time was the director of recreation for the city of Rohnert Park. And since 1975, we have 50 years of consecutive volunteer-based club that has offered tennis to the city's citizens of Rohnert Park. Right now, we have 196 members in the club. We have, like I said, the teams. We sponsor USTA teams, and the USTA teams play different clubs throughout Sonoma County. Then their clubs come to us and play on our courts. Okay, when they come to us, they're going to have dinner. They maybe have lunch. They spend money in the city. We as a club rent the courts from the city, so we generate money for the city. And over the years, we have donated tennis equipment to various courts throughout the city to the tune of $140,000. We continue to do that. We maintain the courts on a daily basis. I emptied garbage cans this morning on the courts. And we work those courts. They're like our little babies. So we really would like to get serious about potential of resurfacing those courts. I'd like to also thank Cindy Bagley, who we work with, and she supports us 100% in the Recreation Department as well. And in closing, Cindy knows this, and I don't know if all of you know this, but we have pledged $20,000 towards this project. And based on my knowledge, I went through the 2007 resurfacing. I went through the 2012 reconfiguration of the courts. I know tennis courts. Based on that, that's at least a court and a half, or maybe even pushing 2 courts that we're paying for. And I'm also spearheading a way of trying to maybe generate monies towards the courts, and that's why I asked for a meeting, because I want to know how.
This meeting is adjourned.